do a lot of charity shows, but here's what I know about charity shows. Charity shows are supposed to be for a cause, and you're supposed to raise money, which means most of these guys probably work for free because whatever they usually get paid, they're donating that to the cause. I can't see any of these guys getting paid more than $30 on a good day to wrestle. I've never heard of any of them, and I've dealt with a lot of New England wrestlers. But again, if you have 15 people show up to your show because the show is just awful and you have a track record of putting on awful shows, it doesn't matter how you spin it that you only do it for charity and it's only for that cause only. If you don't have people coming up to your show, what are you donating? I mean, it's costing you money. It's costing you money for the ring. It's costing you money to transport the ring. It's costing you money for the venue. It's costing you money for insurance. It's costing you money to get any significant name there. So whether everybody donates, if you got 12 wrestlers and they get $20, a pop, you're talking $240 to $250. Was it really, $250 of salaries donated? It cost you probably $200 for the ring. Another $50 to rent the truck and get it there. You're already in the negative before you even opened your door.
You're absolutely right.
So I don't get it. I honestly don't. I don't know enough about the company, but just basing it on their page on Facebook, it's like we said, it looks like the drizzling shits. So, anybody wants to check it out, you can go to facebook.com/veteran pro wrestling. Apparently, they have a Ox Baker Memorial Cup. They ran it 2015 and 16.
Yep, that is definitely them then, because that's one of the things we spoke about.
Yep. So, they have the winner of that was Walter Bad News Swan, who's now the commissioner. Go figure, the commissioner won the tournament. The Patriot Paul Severe. Okay, so we got another fake Patriot. And then we got Rescue 911 2016. There was nothing for 17 and nothing for 18. So that pretty much can tell you what you need to know about a company. I had this conversation with another promoter. You can't call yourself a company, and you can't say that you're... I'm trying to word this right, but you can't be taken seriously if you're running 2 times a year.
Exactly.
Like we have a women's division that, is a subsidiary of a main division. You have Warriors of Wrestling, and then you have the Women of Warriors, which is their women's division. We run 4 times a year for the women. But the main show runs every single month, sometimes twice a month, and we have women on that show as well, including the champion, and we bring in names to take on the women's champion and stuff like that. So, where we focus 4 times a year on just the women to have a whole show, so that is a credible promotion. That's a credible company. You're running twice a month, but every month you don't cancel. They've been around for, 10 to 11 years. This company has been around since 2016, and how many shows have they run? 7?
Well, that's what I said. They were not, as I knew it, they were not more than a couple of years old and maybe run half a dozen shows. Just in
2017, they ran 5 shows. February 27th and 28th, July 3rd, so nothing between February and July, and then nothing from July. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. February 27th and 28th of 2016. They ran July 3rd and April 30th, 2 shows of 2017. So they've run 2 shows in 2016, 3 shows in 2017, and nothing in 2018.
So my information was right about half a dozen shows in 2 years.
Yeah, it's 3 years. If you think about it, it's 16, 17, and 18. So, in 3 calendar years, you've run, 5 freaking shows, and you're complaining about someone wanting to get paid to do a show. Look, like I said, if it's a charity show and you want people to donate their salary, to the cause, then you need to put that out there immediately before any information or ideas are even exchanged. You know, that's how it needs to go. So
absolutely,
I've had a very bad experiences with promoters and charity events. It just always winds up being a big clusterfuck. I mean, people donating their time, and they're donating their pay or portions of their pay, and you're doing 50-50s and stuff like that. These places have bars, and sometimes they donate the bar tab for the first hour of the 3-hour show, and everybody tries to do their part. People come in and sell candy bars and chips and stuff like that, and the money goes towards the cause. There's so many ways to do it, but it always winds up at the end of the night. It's just like, really, this is all you collected?
Yep. Well, I'll tell you a story that happened with me. This was years and years ago. There was a girl in my local town where I was living, and she had cancer,
mm-hmm.
and I was asked to do a show for her, and all the benefits were going to go for her, medical bills, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, absolutely, let's talk about it, let's get it done. So I want to say it was literally 30 days before showtime,
mm-hmm.
and it got to where nobody was selling tickets. It was being promoted like hell, but nobody was selling tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And we just didn't get up to where I wanted to be. I always set timelines for things.
Right.
We didn't get to where I wanted to be. So at that 30-day mark, I said, listen, I'm going to call this off. It was like, oh, no, we got time. No, we don't have time. 30 days is not a lot, and you're not going to get to where we need to be in 30 days. There's just no way. I'm going to call this off. And so, I was making phone calls to wrestlers, this, that, the other thing, and I ended up, out of my own personal pocket, writing this young lady. I mean, granted, it wasn't much, but it was more than what I had in ticket sales. So I personally wrote a check for $5,000 and gave it to her family and said, here. I said, the show's been called off, but here, this will help. That's the type of person I am.
Yeah, well, you know what? I commend you for that, definitely, without a doubt. And, most people would not do that. But getting back to your point about time, first of all, anybody with half a brain that knows even the smallest amount of things about business knows that everything should be on a time frame. When you obviously, if you own a business, like if you own a store, you have business hours. That's a time frame where you need to do business between this time and this time. You have business plans where you have an outlook in a certain amount of time that you have goals. You try to make this much money between this time and this time, or you run a promotion. You're running a promotion from a certain point to a certain point, looking to make a certain amount of money in that time frame. So, I mean, so anybody who thinks that time doesn't exist with wrestling is silly. Wrestling is all time, whether it's in the ring or outside the ring. Everything is on a time. And, 30 days is probably the
about 10 in the regular world.
Well, just like, but 30 days just should be like the minimum. Like the minimum you should have just to promote the event.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, obviously, if the event is like October 5th, you're not going to start promoting October 1st. I'm talking about 30 days. I'm talking about a calendar 30 days, not September to October. I'm talking like whatever the date is in September to that same date week-wise in October.
Exactly.
30-day span. Now, you need that alone just to promote the show. Now, if you run every month, obviously you use the show before it to promote the next show.
Exactly.
And so on, whether it's flyers or word of mouth or, local business, whatever it is, posters. But if you haven't done a show in a year and you think that you're going to, successfully put on a show in 30 days, you're nuts.
And that's exactly what my point was. I said, we got 30 days. There's no way we're going to get the ticket sales we need. There's no way that we're going to be able to, do what we need to do. And it's not fair to her, and it's not fair to the fans that do show up, because it's going to end up being the drizzle and sheds.
Right.
And here I am 30 days out, and I'm telling you that as the promoter, I'm telling you, listen, I'm not doing it because of A, B, and C. Guess what? Respect that. Respect the fact that I'm telling you that listen, it's just not going to work. Instead of me saying, oh, yeah, let's go, we got this, don't worry about it, we got it. No, it doesn't work like that. Not with me, it doesn't.
It shouldn't work like that with anybody. But you know what? You know the companies that run like that. As soon as you walk in the door, you already know that it's just going to be a terrible night of wrestling experience. You just know it. You just from the absolute crappy posters to the disorganization. As soon as you walk in the door, no one knows what's going on. There's just shit everywhere. You got guys still working out in the ring when the gates are open. I mean, it's no lighting, no curtains. The wrestlers are all sitting in a corner behind a garbage bag that's hanging on the wall. I mean, it's just,
Hey, you said you've been in the business since 2012, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how long you span back as far as a fan and stuff, and I know you're in the New York area.
Yeah.
Do you remember a promotion out of the Long Island area called Long Island Wrestling Federation?
I don't think I do.
They were originally called the Dog Pound or the Dog House.
I think I've heard of that.
Guy run by the name of Bobby Lombardi.
Yes, I know him.
And let me tell you something. Those were some of the best independent shows I ever worked. When it comes to an independent promoter, he was right on top of things. And if things were not working out the way that he wanted them to, he wasn't afraid to tell you, get the hell out of my locker room.
Well, you can do that now. I mean, then. You can do that then. You can't do that now.
And it was just... When it comes to independent shows, I honestly have to say that he was one of the best. And LIWF is where Angel came from the Baldies. Don Marie worked with them for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, one of their main guys still lives in New York, Latham, the Tower of Torture, as they call him.
Okay.
And like I said, those are some of the best independent shows I've ever worked in my life. And I wish that promoters nowadays would take cues from people like the Bobby Lombardis and the Boston Bad Boys, Tony Rumble, Jason Rumble, the people like that grew up in this business and made this business what it is. I was talking with a couple good friends of mine. We had these conversations a lot on Facebook, actually, with Q-Ball Carmichael and Manny Fernandez and all that, how it just, the business has changed so much. And it's almost sickening to see what it's become compared to what it was. And it was so protected at one time, and so, everything was just a place for everything and everything in its place.
Right.
It
was an exclusive fraternity.
Hey, thank you. That's the right word. That's exactly what Manny Fernandez called it.
Okay. Now, Manny Fernandez is a couple of chicken nuggets short of a Happy Meal, so...
I won't repeat that. You got my word on that.
I've told him that. He was brought in by Eric Sims for pretty much for an entire year. He brought him everywhere, and I've had a couple conversations with him. He's a little out there, and then he's on one of these Facebook groups where they think it's funny to trash the shit out of each other, and he's in it, and he shits all over everybody. I mean, he doesn't even care. It's like it's to a point where like you start to doubt if it's him or not, but I don't know. But he just comes off very weird. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it at weird. I don't want to trash the guy, but he's not one of my. He's definitely not ranked in my top 500.
But one thing I do want to do before I let you guys go is, the independent promotions, there's a lot of good ones out there. So definitely, all you guys that are out there, coming up and cutting your teeth, look for those good ones. Stay away from the bad ones. Stay away from the garbage. Stay away from the drizzle and shits. Oh, yeah. That's not to say that even with a good promoter, you're going to have a bad show, because that can happen.
Right.
It's all timing. It's all location. But you got to, look for the good ones. And, one thing that we were talking about the other day on one of the chat rooms that whatever they call them, the groups.
Yeah.
And Facebook is